Hi, and welcome to the Vintage Read. This is a tale about a demented nanny and a spare who really had something to complain about. I'm talking, of course, about the York boys, Prince Albert of York and Prince Edward of York. Prince Albert of York, Bertie, was Prince Harry's great-grandfather, and he was the spare, and Prince Edward of York was the heir. And they had a truly horrific childhood, but in particular, Bertie, because as the spare, he was targeted by this demented nanny. Now, the boys' relationship with their mother and father was pretty much destroyed for the first 3 or 4 years of their life. So you can imagine the trauma and impact of that. Now, King George V was a tyrannical sort of bully that wanted to terrify his children anyway, so we'll put him to one side and we'll focus on Queen Mary. Now, Queen Mary was a hands-off mother, like the typical mum of the day, but she did want a relationship with her boys and she wasn't a particular meanie or anything. So every day the nanny would have to bring the boys down to the drawing room at tea time to see Queen Mary, their mother. And just before they would enter, she'd give them a hard pinch or do something horrible to them so that when they went through the doors of the drawing room, they would be really upset and crying and wailing. Now, you can imagine that poor Queen Mary would think that the boys were upset because they didn't want to see her. Well, that would be the first thing that would pass through my mind as a mum because, we tend to be I tend to be a little paranoid. But anyway, I'm sure she probably thought, why are they always crying when they see me? So she couldn't stand it, and she used to dispatch them back to the nursery. So this sort of abuse went on for many, many years. No one was any the wiser. And on top of the demented nanny, poor old Bertie had other problems. He had knock knees, and so this awful heavy splint was made, and he was forced to sleep in this all night for years, and it was painful and it used to hurt him, and he was even made to wear it like walking around sometimes. On top of that, he was left-handed and he was forced by his tutor, under punishment if he didn't, to use his right hand. Now, these days we know just how traumatic and hopeless that is, but you can imagine the poor kid forced to use his right hand, punished if he didn't, had these awful heavy splints on, and then all he had to look forward to every bloody night was this demented nanny in charge of him in the nursery. So, truly, truly horrific. But there is a hero in this tale, and the hero was Charlotte Bill, a Cockney junior nurse who entered the nursery under the authority of this demented nanny, who consequently is never named. Oh, I should tell you how I know all this. It was from Francis Donaldson's 1974 book on King Edward VIII. So, where was I? Yes, Charlotte Bill, the hero, junior nurse. Now, this would have taken a lot of courage to report this demented sociopath of a nanny, but she did. And the parents, to their credit, believed her, and she was summarily dismissed from the palace, and the boys' lives really improved from that point. And Charlotte Bill actually became their nanny, and they loved her very much. So there was sort of a happier ending. And as you know, there was a real twist in this tale because the spare became the heir. And the great thing about this spare story is we can see that despite early childhood trauma, you can triumph in the end because King George VI was much loved. He guided his nation through the Second World War, and he just made a real success of being king. Until next time, I hope you enjoy your vintage reads, and I can't wait to read your comments down below about what you think about Bertie, Prince Harry's great-grandfather, and his spare story. Bye.